I thought I was just designing a simple healing mechanic for a boss battle. You know, nothing too crazy. But then, I discovered something magical and extremely beneficial. I wanted to kick myself in the butt for not implementing this sooner. In this video, you get to see behind the scenes of how I designed this boss battle. Every step along the way, witnessing what it's like developing a PC game on a mobile phone. So my initial idea was to have this blue healing orb that would float behind the boss ship and heal it whenever the health had dropped below 75%. I didn't really like the look of that implementation, so I changed the healing orb's position to sit at the top right corner of the ship's image. And doing so, this made the tiny health icons that were feeding into the ship more visually present, and you could see them better on the screen, but I still didn't really like the look of it. So I changed it up again. So my next idea was to change the healing orb into a big health icon that would rotate behind the ship. The effect kind of gave off this glitchy look to it. I didn't like the look of that, so I just ultimately threw it out and went on to something else. So then I wanted to increase the difficulty a little bit, and therefore I added a secondary healing icon and I changed the positioning again. And instead of feeding these tiny health icons into the ship, I changed that to a yellow laser beam to give off a much better look, healing it instantly. Now, as you can see, the top healing icon is completely covered by the pause button, and obviously that doesn't work. So I had to adjust the positioning of those, move the top one down a little bit, move the bottom one up a little bit, and just did that a couple times until I got the positioning just right. So after I moved the healing icons, I felt like I needed a way to make this a little bit more engaging for the player. So then I added collision detection with the healing icons. So now the player can shoot lasers at the healing icons and destroy them after a certain number of lasers that would hit the healing icon. And when I first implemented this, the collision did not work, and the lasers would just pass right through the healing icon. Kind of gave off a weird look to it. And essentially, I just forgot to simply turn on the collision system for the healing icon. And then I wanted to add some more visual sexiness to this healing mechanic. So what I did was I took each healing icon, and each time that they would get hit by a laser, they would rotate faster. And since the healing icons took a certain number of hits before they disappeared, they would just keep rotating faster and faster until they ultimately disappeared. So then I wanted to try this scaling up feature where the healing icon would grow in size every time it got hit by a laser. And when I did, it ended up being way too big and took up the entire screen, covering up a lot of all of the other elements on the screen. So obviously that didn't look good, so I had to scratch it. So this is where the real fun starts happening. This is where I implemented particle effects. I wanted to kick myself in the butt for not implementing this sooner. So what I did is I have these particles that would kind of eject from the healing icon where it sits as it rotates, and they would eject in one of 8 randomly chosen directions. Each time a healing icon would get hit, more particles would get ejected from the bigger healing icon until it ultimately disappeared. Then the particles started looking like they were moving a little too fast. So I slowed down the particles at first, and the particles that seemed like they were staying on the screen for a little too long. It looked a little unnatural. So I decreased the amount of time that they were displayed on the screen because I felt like they just lingered a little too long. So then I added in more directions for the particles to move in so that they have a more natural look to it instead of just going out in 8 random ass looking directions and just kind of looking sticky, clunky. So I was really digging these particle effects, so guess what I did? More particles! Because they're awesome. Oh yeah, and another funny little thing you're going to see here. My phone just flipped on me. Now, don't worry, nothing happened to the game. Just visual effects. And that's just one of the many nuances that come with developing a game on a mobile phone. So I thought I'd just put that in there and show you just to see, see what kind of things you deal with sometimes. So those particle effects were looking really good. I really liked the way the particles were coming out and going in all these random directions and everything. So then I wanted to add in some more visual effects whenever the healing icons would get hit by a laser. So then I added in these red particles that would eject out to the right of the healing icon, because obviously that just made sense. If it's getting hit from the left, they would naturally go and hit and, like, move out to the right. And I'm really falling in love with these particles. So I just love it. My idea was for it to spin really fast and eject all these particles at the beginning, and then each time it got hit by a laser, the rotation speed would slow down. The number of particles getting produced would slow down. So it kind of gave off this natural dying out effect, where it was losing power, losing charge, and just ultimately just losing its momentum in developing all these particles and all that bullshit. And then upon death of these healing icons, I made it so that a bunch of red particles would kind of make this small red particle explosion looking animation. I thought it looked pretty cool because every time it just kind of exploded into a circle with the way I did it, and I thought this just looked really freaking cool. These particle effects were looking really great, but I decided to increase the difficulty a little bit more. I know you can hate me later, but I think it just needed a little bit more difficulty. So what I did was I added in a third healing icon for the players to destroy, and I changed back the healing icons to activate when the boss's health goes below 75%. So then just a few more tweaks I wanted to mess with here. I wanted to increase the rotation speed of the health icon at first, and I wanted to increase the amount of particles being produced at first as well. And then upon testing, I noticed that I probably needed to decrease the rotation speed a little bit more than I was before, and decrease the particle production amount a little bit more than it was before, after it got hit by a laser, just to give off a more natural dying out effect. So then I added in a feature for the healing icons to kind of recharge themselves, because I felt like it just made sense for it to be able to recharge itself if it's healing its, respective ship that it needs to heal. Plus, I felt like it kind of gave off a more genuine challenge, instead of just having a specific number of shots that it would take to destroy the healing icons. So this is looking really good. I was really liking everything, but then I just felt like it just needed something. And if you know anything about game development, you probably guess what I'm gonna say. Really felt like this just needed some sound. So I searched the internet and I found some free sounds. Luckily enough, whenever I searched for these sounds, the one that I downloaded was the very first result that popped up. So I downloaded that, and then I quickly implemented the sound into the game every time the healing mechanic was activated. So then, when I added in the laser beam sound, it really amped up this battle quite a bit. So then, for a little bit of more cohesion, I thought, well, this yellow laser beam doesn't look great. So I was like, well, let's just change the color of the laser beam. So I changed the color of the laser beam to be cyan or teal or light blue, however you want to look at it. And I felt that this definitely made things stick together with the entire theme of the rest of the game. Now we're almost there. So I did some final testing, and I just want to put this out there that obviously I am slightly overpowered for these specific testing reasons. And whenever I was testing this out, I was shooting down the boss, and I managed to destroy the boss without destroying the healing orbs first. And as you can see, the healing icons, they just stayed on screen, kept rotating and emitting particles as if nothing happened. And when I went on to the next level, they were obviously still there doing their thing whenever they shouldn't have been. to fix this. Pretty much what I just did was just to have the healing icons self-destruct if the boss got destroyed before the healing icons got destroyed by themselves. And so there you have it. That was my design process for implementing this boss battle and amping up the difficulty for it. And if you found it interesting and you want to try out the demo for free, I will leave a link to the game page in the description below. You can go and download it for free and try it out and let me know what you think. And if you want to hit like and subscribe, that would mean the world to me. It really gives me a lot of motivation to keep making these videos for you and show you my process in making my very first commercial game. Thanks for watching.